All right, let's dive into something interesting today. We're going to be talking about seduction.
Ooh, seduction.
And not the cheesy kind of seduction, but like the real deal, like the kind that shapes history and literature. We're talking like Cleopatra, Casanova, the big leagues, right?
Right. And I think what's really interesting about seduction is that it's not really about manipulation, It's more about understanding, like, what makes people tick.
Yeah.
Like their desires, their vulnerabilities, their fantasies even, and sort of tapping into that.
So it's like a deep dive into psychology in a way.
Exactly.
And we've got a great guide for this. We're looking at Robert Greene's The Art of Seduction, which I don't know about you, but when I think seduction, I think like cheesy dating advice. And this is not that.
No, not at all.
This is like he's dissecting historical figures, literary characters, and showing how they use these tactics, these timeless tactics, to get what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it really makes you wonder, how many times have we encountered this and just not even realized it,
All the time, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So to kind of break this down, Greene lays out these different seductive strategies. And the first one, tactic number 1, enter their spirit.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is too basic, but it reminds me of that quote, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
So it seems like this is all about, genuine interest to the other person.
Right, absolutely. It's about going deeper than that superficial level of conversation and really connecting with someone. And Greene actually uses this example of mirroring, which is really fascinating. Which is this idea that you subtly reflect back your target's values, their interests, even their mood and their body language.
Oh, interesting.
To create this instant rapport.
So you're like stepping into their world a little bit, showing them that you get them, you see them.
Exactly. And I think a really great example of this is Cleopatra.
Oh, perfect example.
Right. Cleopatra and Mark Antony. So you've got Antony, this powerful Roman general. He could have very easily been threatened by Cleopatra.
Absolutely.
Her intelligence, her power.
Yeah.
But she was so brilliant. She completely disarmed him by indulging his love for, like, lavish spectacles, right? She even adopted a lot of Egyptian customs.
Cleopatra, the queen of grand gestures.
Exactly. But that was her way of speaking his language.
Yeah.
Right. Appealing to what he desired. And in his case, it was all about feeding that ego, making him feel like a conqueror, even as she was subtly gaining influence.
So it's like flipping the script, like you think she's, giving up power, but really she's gaining it through this.
Exactly. It's very clever.
Very clever. Okay, so that's enter their spirit. Moving on to tactic number 2. Create temptation, but keep it vague.
Okay.
This sounds like the classic less is more approach, right?
It is. It's about sparking curiosity, sparking that desire without giving it all away up front. Greene actually uses this really great analogy of those perfume ads. Those really alluring perfume ads that just give you these hints of luxury and allure, but they don't actually reveal all the details.
It's like that mystique.
Exactly. It's that sense of mystery.
It makes you want more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So it's like this kind of mental itch that they can't help but scratch,
Yes.
So how do you create that? How do you create that without being too obvious?
It's about offering glimpses, right? Glimpses of pleasure, excitement, or even, forbidden knowledge. Like, if you think about the story of Aphrodite tempting Paris with Helen of Troy, right?
Oh, yeah.
She didn't just offer him Helen. She offered him this irresistible adventure, this chance to fulfill his deepest desires.
Yeah, she really tapped into, like, what made him tick, what he was really looking for, not just, like, the surface level.
Exactly. And that kind of leads us to tactic number 3, which is disarm through strategic weakness.
Wait, this one sounds counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Like, how can you be persuasive if you're showing weakness? Shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't you be, like, strong and confident to influence people?
Right. You would think so, but sometimes letting your guard down a little bit, showing a little vulnerability, it can actually completely disarm the other person.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you seem less threatening or something.
Yeah, you seem less threatening, more relatable.
Oh, interesting.
It taps into our desire to want to protect and nurture.
So it's like disarming them by disarming yourself first almost.
Exactly. And it makes them feel trusted, right? Think about it. Like when someone shares a struggle with you, asks for your advice, it automatically makes you feel closer to them.
It does. You feel closer to them.
Yeah, you feel more connected.
It's a sense of trust.
Exactly. And trust is key in seduction or any type of influence, really. And Greene, actually, one of his examples is Casanova.
Of course, Casanova.
Right. And he was very much about what he called strategic helplessness.
Oh.
He would act as the grateful friend. He would come to them for advice and support, and it made the woman feel really needed, admired.
So he was playing the long game there.
Oh, yeah. Always playing the long game.
But by making them feel like they're helping him, they're the ones seducing themselves.
Exactly. It's very clever.
That's really, really clever.
And it kind of highlights how seduction really is about guiding the other person, not forcing them. It's about crafting an experience.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Which leads us perfectly to tactic number 4. Confuse desire and reality. The perfect illusion. And we've all had those daydreams, right? Like where you kind of envision yourself in a more exciting life, a better version of yourself.
Right.
And it seems like seducers, they really know how to tap into that. Like that's their domain.
Oh, they're masters of illusion. They really are. Appealing to our deepest yearnings, those fantasies that we might not even admit to ourselves. And they understand that seduction isn't really about changing who someone is, but it's about offering them a glimpse of who they could be.
Like a better version.
Exactly. It's like holding up this mirror, but the mirror reflects back a slightly idealized version
A little bit, yeah.
of the person looking back, right? And that idealized version, it feels attainable because it's still rooted in their desires.
It's still them.
Yeah. Exactly. And a great example of this is Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, the classic.
Right. Like she wasn't just naturally seductive.
Right.
Like she very carefully crafted that persona. Oh yeah, it was all very calculated and very, very smart. The way she walked, that breathy voice, the way she held herself, it was all very intentional. And it all tapped into this very specific fantasy, right? And I think that's why men were so drawn to her, not just for her beauty, but for what she represented.
Yeah, like this kind of fantasy come to life.
Exactly.
So you're playing into those desires that people already have, those fantasies.
Exactly.
And you're positioning yourself as the key to unlocking it almost, right?
Yes, precisely.
Wow. And what's more desirable than something that's off limits?
Oh, that's a good point.
Which leads us to tactic 5, the allure of the forbidden. Transgressive seduction. It's like we always want what we can't have, right?
It's true.
There's something about that danger, that breaking the rules.
The risk. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It is. It's exciting. And skilled seducers, they understand this primal urge and they use it to their advantage.
How so?
Well, they create this aura around themselves of danger, of forbiddenness.
Okay.
Right? So the seduction itself, it becomes almost like a transgression.
Oh, wow.
Right? Like this delicious act of rebellion.
It's like forbidden fruit. You got to have it. Yeah.
Exactly. And that takes us to the final tactic in Greene's arsenal. The bold move timing is everything, because it's not just about creating that desire. It's knowing when and how to act on it, right?
That's all about the timing.
Exactly. And a bold move at the wrong time, disaster, right?
Yeah.
But a bold move at the right time, completely irresistible.
Ooh, I like it.
And one of Greene's examples is the Duc de Richelieu, who was this notorious French seducer, right?
Okay.
And there's this story about him where he ends up hiding completely naked in this duchess's bedroom.
Oh, no.
Right, like a prank gone wrong, right?
Yeah.
Most people would be mortified.
Oh, absolutely.
Not Richelieu.
He's like, game on.
He uses the situation to his advantage, right? He turns this moment of vulnerability into this bold display of desire.
Wow, that's talk about flipping the script. Like most people would just want to like disappear.
Exactly.
It's like, nope, we're doing this. We're leaning into it.
Exactly. And it's such a great example of how boldness, when timed correctly, can be so persuasive because it catches the other person off guard.
Right. It's unexpected.
It disarms them and it creates this like unforgettable connection.
So it's like you're breaking the social script a little bit,
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that, but he's like, well, I'm doing it, and look what happened.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. We've gone through all these tactics: mirroring, strategic weakness, crafting illusions, the allure of the forbidden, the power of the bold move. And it's amazing to me how all of this is, yes, it's about seduction, but it's really just, it's human psychology.
It is. It's understanding what makes people tick,
And how to use it to your advantage.
Well, not not necessarily even to your advantage, but just how to understand why people do the things they do.
That's true.
How to, yeah.
To connect with them.
And these principles, they don't just apply to romantic relationships, right? This is business, this is social dynamics, this is, I mean, even understanding how historical figures have risen to power.
It's like we've unlocked the secret code here.
In a way, and the really cool thing is this is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Robert Greene's book, it goes into so much more depth, with all the examples from history and literature.
Whole journey.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like we could do a whole series on this, but
Right.
as we're kind of wrapping up here, what's like one big takeaway you want our listeners to walk away from this with?
I think, remember that seduction really at its core, it's about connection.
Okay.
It's about understanding those desires, the motivations, even the vulnerabilities of the people around us. And when we understand those things, we can connect with them on a deeper level.
Yeah.
We can build trust.
Absolutely.
And yeah, maybe even influence outcomes.
In a way that feels good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Not manipulative.
Exactly.
Authentic.
Authentic. Exactly.
I love it. Well said. So listeners, as you go about your day, think about these principles. See if you can spot them in action.
Have fun with it.
Yeah. Have fun with it. It's like a little game.
Exactly. You might be surprised what you notice.
Absolutely. All right. Until next time.